Yes, earnings season is drawing to a close. And yesterday I talked about Oracle, but we have one more company that has been rocketing the last few months who will be reporting next week, and that is Micron, ticker symbol MU. And this is just a preparation video a week ahead of time before earnings, because I will have an earnings prep video next week. But I just want you to start thinking about this company and potentially what moves can happen next week when they report. All of that and more in today's MU technical analysis video. All right, so here we go, ladies and gentlemen, taking a look at Micron Technology, ticker symbol MU. And what a rip this thing has been on. If really you just go back to this past summer, and really you just go back to this past fall, and really, if you look at this company after that big drop off of the tariff weakness last April, it has just been on a rip. If we measure from the lows all the way to its all-time high, we could see $393.87 to the upside, a gain of 632%. That is very beastly. And if we're looking at the all-time high here, we mark this out 455.52. So this thing has been on an absolute tear. And why do we care? Why does this matter? Because next week on Wednesday, they are going to be reporting earnings on March 18th. And you can rest assured that this will be a major player in terms of moving the market. Now, if you just look here, we had a little bit of a dip from November 10th into November 21st. Everything really corrected at that time, dipped a little bit across the market, but then it started its next leg up. And then we had another little pullback on December 10th into the 17th. But from there, from the 17th of December on, this thing has just pushed so hard, so high, and so fast. And it's left behind several unfilled gaps in its wake, which we will talk about here in a second. But if we take a look at this, just in terms of the technicals and what type of pattern we're seeing on the chart right now, yes, you are seeing a higher high, lower high, double top. Now, this thing has been so strong that I am not foolish enough to short it. I actually thought about shorting it back here when we had a little bit of the same pattern, higher high, lower high, double top. That didn't work out very well for me. So I am not touching this thing to the downside, but we have to acknowledge that pattern does exist. And if we're going to mark out our neckline, if I draw a line here, and I'm just going to label this neckline, we could see that we would have to close below, and let me change the color of that, 363.46 in order for this to get a really significant drop to the downside. And what's interesting is that we have tested this area a few times. On February 4th, we came down and tapped it, got a little bit of a bounce, nearly came down and tapped it again, bounced. And then here on Monday, actually, with the weakness that we had in the market, we tapped that neckline and we pushed higher. And you could see today that we are green at the time that I'm recording this. And what I want to watch to see is, are we going to print another lower high here and then resume a move down, or are we going to push through, breakout, and make a new all-time high ahead of the earnings report next Wednesday? That's what I'm really interested in seeing, what is going to happen with this company. Now, just taking a look at some of the other technicals here, we could see that we have lost some steam in terms of the RSI, the relative strength index. So the momentum is fading a little bit, even though it is picking up right now. And we could see that the volume started to decline somewhat, but it is starting to creep back up. We are seeing some bulls step back in to buy here ahead of earnings. So there's definitely still lots and lots of interest on the stock. It is super volatile. This one is great for day trading because you can get a $2, $3 move in one or two candles, if not even more than that. So this has been fun for day trading and for scalps. And then if we just look at some other key areas here, you could see that we have 3 unfilled gaps that I'm keeping an eye on. You have this unfilled gap here at 347.61 that was created back on January 15th. So keep an eye on that if that wants to get filled. You also have one here at 293.36. You'd have to go back to December 31st. And then you have one way down here at 237.34. And that is from December 17th. If we were going to fill these 2 gaps, something went horribly wrong in the market. I don't think that's on the table, although who knows, anything can happen in the markets, but I don't think that's a possibility, at least anytime soon. And then if we just take a look at our moving averages where we are, we could see that we are quite a ways extended above the 100 simple moving average and the 200. And after breaking down below that 50, we are now back above that. We are back above the 10-day EMA. And right now we are above that point of control. If we shift over here to the weekly chart, you are seeing that there are some longer upper wicks coming into play anytime that we test the range from 438 up to that 445 or 455 area. So just watch this as a natural resistance. And you are seeing a double top pattern forming here on the weekly as well. So we're seeing it on both time frames, daily and weekly. But again, that doesn't mean that this thing is going to drop anytime soon because it's been so strong. And you can just see how far away we are from the weekly 50 simple moving average. We are a long ways away from that. And then just heading over here to the monthly, let me delete these lines and clean up this chart a little bit. You can see this massive raging move that we had here. This could just be a little bit of a retest, ladies and gentlemen, before this thing rips even more. But notice on the RSI, we are overbought significantly. So you want to keep an eye on those levels heading into earnings. If it does stay elevated like that, if we are going to get a little bit of a correction, a little bit of a pullback. Weekly, we're not overbought. And again, as I showed you on the daily, we are not overbought here. But this move on MU has been something to marvel at. It has been great. It's going to be interesting to see how they report. And again, I'll have an earnings analysis video ready for you guys next week. I just wanted to take a look at how this thing has been performing here as of late. And we could see it's getting a nice bounce coming into play here today. And we'll see what type of move that it gets next week. So there you have it, the biggest stock left to report here in this round of earnings. Micron, it's going to be March 18th. I am super excited about it. I've been loving trading this stock. It has been so much fun. It did rock me last week. It hit me right in the mouth, but I got it back the next day. But the volatility, quick moves that you get on these things, on this particular stock, can give you strong opportunities. So check this one out if you haven't day traded it before. And next week, check out the earnings preview video that I'll have just for MU. And let me know your thoughts. Do you think MU is set up more for a move higher or a move lower? I'd love to hear that in the comments below. Smash that subscribe button on your way out, and I will see you back here next week as we preview Micron's earnings. Make it a great day, everyone.